Hello, friends. We are 1 week into the new year. And today, Mitra and I thought it would be appropriate for us to continue to build on what we talked about last week. And last week, we talked about how to invite newness into our life and the process of letting things go to allow new possibilities to enter our life and for our intentions to come to us and be able to be sustained throughout the year. And today, we're going to take it a level up and we're going to talk about not only inviting newness, but inviting new possibilities that we never even thought were imaginable, or inviting new possibilities into our life that totally exceed our expectations. This is when not only are we getting the things that we want, but they are coming to us so easily. It's as if the whole universe is conspiring, sending us the right people, the right resources, and success and abundance and relationships just start flowing to us in our life. And so the question is, what are the ingredients necessary for that to happen? I'm sure some of us have known people in our lives who have been doing this, and we may be wondering, how can we do this for ourselves? And Mitra, to begin, let's lay some groundwork. What is an essential understanding, or what are the essential understandings that one needs to invite, we'll call them, these types of miracles into their lives?
I think the place that starts for me is to understand that there is a invisible force or energy that informs the visible world, the matter. Because if we only believe that it's only the visible world, the physical world, the materialistic world, then we will believe that there's a lot of effort that it's needed to accomplish something, which may be true, and maybe it has been true for a while. But the question is, are there other elements that we cannot see or we don't need to do that will help this process? So that belief, that, if you like, clarity of knowing that that's a possibility. So you give some attention to the energetic aspect of what you want, as opposed to just thinking about what's the plan? What should I do? What do I need to have? What do I need to achieve in order to arrive at this point? So that is, to me, a very fundamental and most important part of the whole process of what we may call creation, or when it's fast creation, we may call it a miracle. So, Ben, let me ask you a question on this subject. What do you think is happening when we want to achieve something, or when we really want to create something? How do you see it? I talked about matter and energy. Do you think it is only us? What do we do? What's going on in you when I say that? What happens for you?
Yeah, so I really resonate with what you shared. What's coming up for me is the recognition, the understanding that there is this organizing intelligence that you alluded to that is beyond me, that is working for me and with me. And the illusion that I had before is that I am dictating my life. And if I don't dictate my life, if I don't take all the necessary steps and figure it all out and control all the pieces, that things are going to fall apart and that I won't be able to get the thing that I want. And the big mindset shift was that this organizing intelligence is like my partner, is someone I collaborate with, or something that I collaborate with. And the more I try and figure things out, the more I'm interfering with it being able to help me. Just like in a in any partnership, right? Whether it be a business partnership or a romantic partnership, if one person is constantly trying to steer and control and figure it out, the other person does not have a chance to be able to help that person and offer their wisdom and their skills and gifts. That's the mindset that I've carried and is essential for
Mhm.
being able to invite miracles into my life. Yeah.
And I'd like to invite our interview friends to chime in here, even though we may not be able to hear them. How do you see it? Where does this resonate or not resonate for you? Because the moment then you said control, I immediately thought about the world of fear. And when we are in fear, creation becomes cumbersome and effortful. It's not that it won't happen, that it will happen with a lot of effort. So the more effort I'm putting in, the more, or I feel like I need to put in, the more I would look at the energy behind it. Is the energy in accordance, in current, and in resonance, if you like, with the energy of what you call the intelligence of the world or organizing intelligence of the world? People call it different names, universe, creator, source, whatever names you use. Is that really aligned with that sense of creation, or is it against it? And to me, I just finished my book and soon hopefully it will be published. My whole book starts with Yekibud Yekinabud, which means the world of visible and invisible. And the book finishes to a promised future of Yekinabud Yekibud, where the energy world of invisible is informing the world of matter. So energy, meaning if I really want, let's say my wish is to create a partnership, a business, whatever it is with you, a project. Let's say I would like you to engage with the project that I really am passionate about. So there is the calling and making a meeting and letting you know that's the matter. That's the things I need to do. But really the true and deeper and more effective work that might take this to what people call a miracle kind of project is when I check with my energy. First of all, is my energy of service? Is it aligned with what intelligence of universe wants? Or is it, am I thinking just about myself? How can I benefit from this? How can I use Ben's resources to get what I want? Which makes it delayed, which makes it prolonged. And when my energy is aligned, then you will see that as busy as you may be, you say, "Oh, when are you available?" I say, "Sorry, I'm not available except this afternoon." And lo and behold, that's the only time you're available. So what we call miracle is when my energy is aligned with the energy of the larger universe, and then miracles happen.
What comes up for me when I hear you sharing that is the role of expectations, and how expectations in my experience have interfered with my ability to call in the things that I've wanted in my life. You talked about alignment with this universal order. And when there's alignment, we don't need to specify specific outcomes, how things should be. When I do, I'm not aligned. So that's what it made me think of. And, I think back to when I had my business. Me and my mother were business partners. And for 5 years, Mitra, 5 years, I was fixated on what it was going to take the business to the next level. And while as a business for the first 5 years, we were doing relatively well, we were not doing nearly as well as I wanted to. I had this really high benchmark of success for the business. I was always pointing at my mother, who was my business partner, as the reason why we were not succeeding, because I wanted it, I knew it had to be a certain way, and she didn't necessarily agree with that. And so there was this constant friction. And 5 years into the business, the universe, gave me lessons. We had the warehouse fire. We had a big warehouse fire. My mom got injured, really bad injury. And I was getting ready to want to leave the business. I even put in my resignation, but circumstances aligned where it was almost impossible for me to leave the business without the whole thing just collapsing. And so at that moment, I just finally surrendered. I let go. I let go of my ideas about how the business needs to be successful. I let go of how to measure success and what success is. The whole game plan that I had, I let it all go. And I just said, I'm just going to go with what's in front of me and I'm going to do what's needed right now. And as I did that, I actually started finding more joy and doing the business. About a year into that, Mitra, it was wild. I mean, we had influencers that we never reached out to starting to market our product for us, posting videos on YouTube that were getting millions of views. We started getting noticed by other influencers and other stores, and they started reaching out to us. And we had this exponential growth rate, and it felt effortless. And everything was happening in ways that I just never would have imagined. I had very particular ideas about we needed to do in order for success to happen. And what actually happened looked very different from what I thought it would. And it was a big lesson for me. It was a big lesson for me. And the power of relinquishing my expectations and how things should be and what can be possible when that happens.
Interesting. I wonder, our interview friends, where they relate to this, because I spoke about intentions, you talked about expectations, and really both of them are speaking about the fact that there is forces beyond us. And really, if you think about what we call miracles or magical, is when it's an anomaly in expectations. It's like I expect something, I think I should take this route, and then it's something happens that is completely opposite of that or different than that. So that's very fascinating. Let me ask you a question then, since you brought up a very specific memory about that. What happened in you? What shifted in you before the miracle happened in your business?
It was realizing that the direction that I was trying to go in, that I was trying to take things in, was not working. And I was literally being met with so much resistance in my life. As I said, I put in my resignation because I was so frustrated and I was not able to bring to life the things that I wanted to in the business. And I said, I put in my resignation, and then big warehouse fire happens. And that delayed my resignation. And then the injury that I mentioned with my mom, my mom got injured and she literally, she couldn't come into work anymore for about 6 months. And it was like, and at that point, the whole business fell on my shoulders. And the idea of resigning was just went out the door. And in that moment, it was just recognizing that these were signals. I acknowledged that this is the feedback the universe was giving me, that the direction that I'm going in, the way I'm trying to do things is not working. So I went a long time not paying attention to that feedback I was getting. And the feedback was just getting louder and louder and louder until it got, for me, loud enough to finally listen and be like, okay, my way is clearly not working. And I humbled myself from that. Yeah.
So interesting. Let me translate what I heard. I heard that the outer events, the world of matter, went to a place that informed me. And as a result, I concluded that my way is not working and my way is not the best way. So, and then when you accepted that inside of you, because everything you reported was events outside of you, like, the injury, the this, the business, the fire, none of them were happening inside of you. They were all happening in the outside world. But what happened inside of you, which is of interest to me, is that shift through pain happened. Now, my question is this: how can I arrive at that shift without the pain? That has been my question for over 4 decades when I work with clients, because Of course, it's easy when people get to a place that there is no place of return and then they make a decision. How can I make that decision arrive at that point without the pain, without the information about my health or ending of my relationship, even though they are all eventually become a blessing in our life? How can I become miraculous with less pain or with no pain?
And another way of framing that question is, how can I learn to trust that there is an organizing intelligence that is
But that's
working
the
for me?
answer. But that's the answer. What you just provided is the answer. The answer is the question remains the same. The answer is that I need to trust that there is an organizing intelligence, as you called it, or universal intelligence or higher intelligence beyond me. So that's one, its existence of it. And I want to add that it's working through me, actually. That's the
Hmm.
ultimate word, that it's working through me to assist me. It's like somebody standing at our door and saying, "May I help you?" And we're saying, Shh, I know, I got this. And he's like, may I help you? Because, I've done this, been here before. I've seen this. I really can help you. But the question is, when do I say, yes, please help me before the fire is out? In your case, no pun intended, literally, but sometimes symbolically. Like, can I say, please help me uh, to the universe, into intelligence beside me, that can work for me and with me and through me? That's a huge question in this first episode and first week of the year to ask.
Yeah, and I think for some listening, I imagine the question might arise that sure, it works for other people, but not for me. Um, and I was one of those people, right? I just I knew of the existence. Well, I acknowledged the existence of a universal intelligence. I even acknowledged that it's benevolent and that it's helping people, everyone, and a part of me acknowledged me, but I also believed that it doesn't work as well for me as it does for other people. There's something different about me. There's something wrong with me, and for whatever reason, it just doesn't work for me. So the question then becomes, Mitra, how, for those people who might have that doubt, how do they build their confidence in the fact that it is actually working with them and it works as effectively for them as it does for anybody?
Mhm. The only way to arrive at that conclusion is to experience it on their own. And my invitation to anybody who wants to experience that is to make it smaller so that it's more immediate and more tangible to see. People laugh who are in my car. I always order my parking before I arrive in a very difficult, place that parking is a problem. So when they say, God, you got so lucky, I say, no, I had ordered it. And sometimes people say, like, what number do you call? I say, no, 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 it's not a telephone number. It's actually
Ah, that kind of
energetically
order. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of
I do
order.
the
It's
same
not
thing.
like
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
Amazon.com. It's like universe.com. And I say, I'm actually requesting a very easy experience. I know this is a big event, but I just go and something leaves and I just park this. Like, how did you get that? So start very small and then be open and present to these little miracles and magical events, because we look for, like, I win the lottery game, and going from fear to that might be a long way. But if I just said, I want to have a really easy, like, recording today. You saw I have a new computer. I didn't know how to do things. And there you went. You arrived, you guided me. I got it. I was thinking of how to do it, but you guided me and you were very skilled in it. I didn't ask you. I wasn't thinking that you will do it, but it happened. So it's just like, one, making sure that you put your order in. Two, make sure you're home to receive it, meaning be present to receive it, because just like the things that you order, you also need to receive. It's not one way, it's two ways. And receiving really needs presence. So I forgot that I wanted somebody to help me. And now that you help me, I don't even consider this as anything positive. But when I remember that, I said, like, wasn't that interesting? I wanted this to happen. And here Ben was like quite skilled and open to help me. So I considered that and put that in my awareness that things do happen for me. And now my energy has shifted because I may think that maybe my business won't be as successful as Ben's, but at least I had somebody to help me. So I'm going on the right path. I'm going north. Am I there yet? No, but I'm not going against the path. So one is to put the order in, two is to be really present to it, allow it and notice it when it arrives. And I think the third one is to really the alignment that we talked about, to make sure that you keep the energy as well as matter, because we are a being that lives in the realm of duality, the energy and matter. We need to be aware of both of them. I energetically am aligned, and I also do something, take an action, and my action is aligned with my energetic desires. So to really summarize it here, we clarify what's going on, the world of this and that and this and where am I? And then we become present to receiving it. And then we keep our alignment or make sure that we have alignment between our energy and matter, what I wish to have, how I'm vibrating and what I am doing and saying and acting like.
I really like the idea of starting small. You mentioned the parking spots, ordering parking spots. I love that because I do that too, right? So
Mhm.
ahead of time, setting the intention, just imagining that I pull up somewhere and that I get a parking spot. But here's the key. Here's the key. The assumption I have is that it works and it always works. And if it doesn't work, then there's something that I have not done correctly, or there's something that I have done to block it from happening. Right. So if I set the intention, the key for me is to let go of now the expectation that it has to happen. Right. If it happens, great. I did it right. That's awesome. If it doesn't happen, oh, that's an opportunity for me to learn.
One of the things that I see that comes in the way is when we focus on what we don't want instead of what we do want. So something very small. I tell you,
Mm.
we take my mom to a breakfast place, a brunch place regularly, and she has a favorite table. You know, she wants that like corner table, blah, blah, blah. And I usually order it energetically. I don't tell them, but like, wish that it was there. And I remember one day we were driving there and my mom said, I hope that table is available. And I said, oh, it will be. She said, it's just, I don't want a table. And she described the table she doesn't want in a very, very elaborate way. So the
Mm.
energy of the car, and we were all in one car, the family was in the one car. So energy of the family went to the table that we do not wish to have. I don't like it when it's by the door. I don't like it when it's open. I don't like, and she went on and then there was some supporting documentation and energy in the car saying, yes, we don't like it either. And I was really aware of the fact that we were all focusing on what we don't want. And, we go to the place and that table is taken. And I realized, and I would, you know how and it's sort of like something clicks a little bit later. I knew exactly what it was, that the focus and collective energetic focus of the car was on what we didn't want as opposed to what we did want. And that's one of the ways that we get sort of distracted from aligning. I think that's the right word that we used,
Mm.
aligning our
Yep.
energetic self with our materialistic self. So I don't want to get a ticket is very different than I would like this to go smoothly with no
Mm.
hesitation.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yep.
very different. energy, or I would love to have the table that we usually get. I love that table. Like it's so us. We've been sitting there so long. I love the way we can see the whole restaurant without being on the way. I love that it's closer to the window. Like that is a very different energy saying and focusing on telling how bad the other tables are
Yeah.
and what are the
Yeah.
consequences of sitting there. So very small suggestion and very small example, but it really is symbolism and symbolic of how we do things in life. How can I describe the partner that I don't want, and the home that I
Mm.
don't want to live in, and the car that I dislike, and the job that I don't want to have, the boss that I really hate to have. And then my energy is on what I don't want instead of, would love to work in a place that it's open and has windows and people are coherent and there is alignment, and if there is any
Mm.
diversity of thoughts, it's just discussion. There's no like anything more than that. We come together and we resolve and dissolve and move. Like that's a very different description, energetically speaking, not just verbally, than the opposite.
Absolutely. It reminds me of how I had to develop the habit of paying attention to my patterns of thought, because the patterns for a while were I was just habituated to thinking about the things that I didn't want, paying closer attention to the energy of our thoughts, and how often we're focused on the things we don't want. And the other thing that came up for me is what happens when I notice that doubtful thought come, and when then I resist that, right? So now I'm fighting with myself. So we'll use the parking spot example, right? So set an intention. Okay, I'm going to visualize a parking spot, and then I notice the thought that says, let's say, well, that's impossible. Or I notice a thought that says, well, no, I don't want it to be far from the store. And then the other part of my mind is like, well, you shouldn't be thinking about what you don't want. And now there becomes this battle between how I should be doing and how I shouldn't be doing it, and that interferes with the process too. So, what do you say to the person who now they're noticing that that part of their mind that is focusing on the negative, or it has doubts? How do they relate to that part of the mind? Because it won't just go away; it'll be
No.
there. So, how do they relate
Yes.
when it comes up?
I have created a verb. It's called whoopsing.
Hmm.
It's as simple as saying whoops. Because what happens is now I'm going at myself for the mistake I've made. It's not like, oh my God, they said I shouldn't be doing that. Why did I do that? I always do that. Now I'm like going deeper and deeper into my negative world. Now I not only am thinking negatively about the event, I'm thinking negatively about myself. So now we doubled the problem. But when I
Yeah.
do that, when I go there and I realize it's like, whoops, it's simple as whoops. It's a whoops. Make sure you have a lot of whoops in the world. The first time I heard the whoops was when I was in Iran and my cousin was married to an American and she was visiting. And I loved it every time something dropped. She had a young child. She would say whoops. And I asked her, I said,
Mm.
Marian, what is this whoops? I had never heard it before. She said, oh, it's just like it means, oh, something didn't go the way you intended to go. And I thought, I love that word.
Mm.
And I used it ever since as a verb. And now
Mm.
I actually teach on it. Whoopsing is a
Mm.
very good verb to include in your vocabulary. That I was going this and I'm describing what I don't want is like whoops. Because whoops lightens the journey and I can allows me to come back to what I do want. But when I make it heavy and I am judging myself for doing something, then I go deeper into that world and it's hard to come back. So lighten it. That short answer is lighten it. And one of the tools that have worked for me is to use a whoops as a verb. It's like whoopsing and coming back to this whoop. I did it again. Sorry. Okay, let me just start. I love to get like this. I'm ordering my beautiful parking that is very convenient. And by the way, something else that really helps me is that I wish it for me. I picture it for me. I know I'm going to get it for me. And then I extend it to others. May others also find an appropriate
Mm,
and easy parking. May they find the table they're looking for, because not everybody wants the table I want. Not everybody wants the person I want to be with. Not everybody wants the job I want. There are a lot of people who want something else. So may they also find what they're looking for, and it extends. So it starts with me, clarity of what I want, extends to others. May others also have a great day and find the table that they're looking for and the parking that suits them, because closer is not always better. If I need to move and I find a parking a bit further away, that's what serves me.
mm.
And if you are late and convenience and time is of importance to you, what's closer will serve you. So may everyone find the right parking for themselves and the right table and the right partner and the right job and the right everything else for themselves.
All right. Thank you for that, Mitra. And this seems like the perfect time for us to bring this episode to a close. We hope that you, the listener, receive value from this and that you can start to take small steps to inviting miracles into your life, no matter how small they might be, even if it's just a parking spot. Thank you, Mitra. Thank you for being here with us and sharing your wisdom and your light. Until next time.
Happy 26.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. For a list of the links and other resources referenced in this episode, check out the podcast description.
If you're benefiting from our podcast, we'd love if you could help us reach more people by subscribing. Your support means the world to us. From our hearts to yours, we thank you.